Hello, hello. It's Terry Wade back again to give you another confidence tip of the day. So, today's confidence tip is to not care what other people are thinking. So, you might think, oh, but I really care about that person. Like, I care about what they think. Well, if that person is not being, hey, Marco, if that person is projecting their limitations and their fear on you, you don't have to take that on. And a lot of times the people really love you and that they care about you. They don't want to see you getting hurt. But really the truth is like you're going to fail. Like we're not born, just like having these strategies within us. So really what we have to do is we have to honor our truth and not care what people think. So you can, listen. And one of the things that Bob Proctor told me was when someone's saying something that you don't resonate with, you can just say, oh, that's interesting. And then switch back to them, and they'll love to talk about themselves. So if they're trying to put their limitations, their fear, their lack onto you, then you can just, let that bounce off. Don't take in those beliefs and those, like a lot of times you might hear it and then think of a moment back in childhood when maybe you weren't feeling confident, you weren't feeling enough, you weren't feeling worthy of being loved, being seen, whatever it is. So you don't want to internalize any lack or limitation thoughts. You want to take like any kind of advice from someone who's already where you want to be or like way beyond, right? Like we're not taking any advice from someone who hasn't done it before. We're not taking any advice from someone who's not where you want to be. So anyone else, it's like thank you, appreciate it, and on to the next, right? We're not letting anyone lower our vibes at all. So this is a huge thing. Like people, and I think it's a natural survival mechanism that people do is they kind of conform. And then back when we were cavemen and like there's all these predators out there, we have to stay safe. So it wasn't okay to be seen. It wasn't okay to stand out from the crowd. But now, really embrace who you are, embrace your truth, embrace all parts of you. Hello, hello. Good to see everyone here. Okay, so I want you to think. We talked so the last couple of days on confidence. We talked about the very best case scenario. Instead of thinking about what could go wrong, think about how amazing it can be, and just riff on it. Abraham Hicks says to hold the feeling for 17 seconds. So just riff on how awesome it could be if you were your most confident self. So for me, as a confident CEO, so what would it be like if I was the most confident self? So I would be showing up live every single day, sharing some tips, maybe on confidence or whatever it is that I'm teaching in the moment. So showing up live every day, reaching out to people that are engaging with me, making sales calls, sales conversations, if it feels right, inviting them to be a part of my world and working with me, joining the clearly confident CEO. I had an amazing call this morning and she had mentioned she had a lot of fear, and I had a lot of fear too, starting my business. I'm like, who am I to do this? Like when I was younger, I was bullied. And so I just felt like what I had to say didn't matter. Like, like who am I to show up? Like a little imposter syndrome if you're getting started. If you're first getting started, you're like, I'm barely starting this. But like, who am I to do this? But really, who are you not to do this? Like, we are a child of God, given the kingdom. Like, you being you is all the world needs. Like, we think, oh, like this person's doing it this way. Maybe I should try it. Like, no, like you and your unique gifts and just exactly the way you are. Even if you're introverted, there's introverts out there that need to see an introvert having a business and still being successful in their business or whatever it is that they're doing. And another thing I wanted to talk about, so yeah, not caring what people think, because this is your life and you get to decide how it gets to go for you. So like, how do you want it to be? Like imagine, and riff on how good it could possibly be, and visualize it. So on the call this morning, she was saying I kind of have a hard time visualizing, and so it's really develop this muscle. This is a powerful skill. If you've heard of Neville Goddard, he talks all about the imagination, and so does like Joseph Murphy. So they have these books, Feeling is the Secret, just powerful books. So once you have a clear vision in your mind, then you can bring it into the real world. Say like, oh, I want a new car. Well, it's like, what kind of car do you want? Like, how do you know even what to look for? So it's like, oh, I want a BMW, leather seats, 2020, red, convertible, whatever. Like you have to know what you want. Even just like getting dressed. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna wear the black shirt, then like what pants? Okay, the black pants. It's like you have to visualize it before you can bring it to fruition. So just some tips on confidence, and I would love to hear what questions you have about confidence as I'm building out this Clearly Confident CEO program. And so I did get some questions about it. It's launching on June 9th, so very, very soon. Closes June 20th. So there's going to be early bird pricing. So I've had people reaching out to me already. If you're interested, just send me a message. We can get on a call. I'll tell you all about the early bird pricing and bonuses that you get. But we launch on the 9th. So save the date. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be talking all about confidence. Okay, but let me get back to sharing why it's important to not care what other people think. So a lot of times these people want the best for you. So don't think it's because like they don't believe in you. And maybe they don't believe in themselves and they're projecting that on you. This whole world is really like people are viewing the world how they perceive themselves. So if they think it's not possible for you, probably because they don't think it's possible for them. So don't take on that negative limited belief because you can do anything. If anyone can do it, you can do it. And if even if you haven't seen it done, you can be the first. So the guy that ran the 4 minute mile before him, they said if you tried to run a 4 minute mile, your lungs would collapse and you would die. But he did it, right? Now, right after him, multiple people like started running the 4 minute mile, but like they didn't believe it was possible. Like they were scared to do it because they thought they would die from it. So really, yesterday I talked about this, but like, what is the worst case scenario that could happen? Like you're not gonna die. Like if you're gonna show up with confidence to live out your dreams. I mean, maybe if your dreams like being like a hang glider or something, then I've done that before. It was actually kind of fun. But then there's maybe a little danger in there. But for the most part, if we are entrepreneurs, professionals just wanting to get promoted, wanting to make more money, wanting to really transform our lives, our families' lives, the community, all for the good. So stick to your mission. So my friend Hyra is visiting, who I absolutely love, and we've been having the most amazing conversations and just thinking so big and watching her with her husband's her business partner, and they're just growing their company exponentially. Like to see where they started to see where they are now is just amazing. So surrounding yourself with people that get it, that are also on the same journey as you, is like I can't even express how important that is. Your environment. There's this quote that I learned from Bob Proctor. It says, "Environment is more important than heredity." So whatever genes you're born with at birth isn't as important as like who you're hanging out with on the day to day, what you're like internalizing, books, speeches, friends, because we naturally kind of conform. So why not conform to the most powerful people you can imagine being around, right? And maybe you can't hang out with Tony Robbins tomorrow, but there's somebody out there that is doing life at another level that you might want to live at, and you can talk to them, get in their circle. And of course there's different ways. Somebody, when I talk about how Bob Proctor is my mentor, like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, I paid for him to be my mentor. Like you have to invest in yourself, and you are the very best investment, and have confidence in that. Another thing that me and my friend have been talking about this weekend as she's been visiting is when you just stay close to God and have faith will move mountains. And like, don't take my word on it, just try it, and you will just see, like, once you take a bold action, like, you will see right away you'll be rewarded with something amazing. So that was today's little tip, was to not care what people think. People are going to put their limitations on you. They're going to put their fears on you. A lot of times it's because they don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you fail. But like, you are going to get hurt and you're going to fail. It's just a part of life. But even if you were an entrepreneur or an employee, you can get hurt and fail. Like, we have these lessons that are always going, right? Like I just learned this really big like boundary lesson, and then it's like when there's another lesson, right? Like to show up, value yourself, value your time. So it's just like there's always lessons and lessons. We're always going to learn. So we're always going to be learning. So don't take advice from anybody that is not where you want to be, has already been where you want to be, and realize that if people are saying limiting thoughts to you, first of all, don't internalize it. Second of all, it's probably their own fears being projected onto you. So yeah, know that you are powerful beyond measure. The world needs you. The world needs your light. The world needs your unique mission, your unique personality. So like, what is it that is so important to you? Like, what's your passion? Like, what do you think you're put on earth for? So my friend, she has Remote Woman. She tried to get a remote job for so long. She wanted to travel the world, and she's like, I want a job where I could travel the world. And then she was going interview after interview, for these remote positions, but she wasn't able to get them. And so she really felt like, I want to create a space where, people that want remote jobs can be connected with remote work. So she created Remote Women, and her passion. So after that, she really felt like there was a bias in the workplace with that kind of remote work. So she had Remote Woman, and then she created Remote POC, and she's so passionate about like diversity and like women of power, women of color, having a seat at the table, and she's so passionate about it. And so as she's talking to people on the other line, like she's doing her sales calls, I'm doing my sales calls, and we're co-working together, and it's really just firing me up. But that mission comes across so strongly, and she's non-negotiable. And that's how you have to be about your values, about your dream, about your mission. Like make it like this is a non-negotiable. Like I'm gonna keep going until it happens. It's like you just make a decision and then you go with it. Like Einstein said, Einstein was interviewed and they said, if you hadn't invented the light bulb right now, what would you be doing? He's like, I'd be continuously working on it. It took him 10,000 times to do it. So like you just imagine. So if you try, say you launch a course, nobody signs up, maybe one person signs up, you just go again. Like I've had these failed course launches, but then you just keep going and really like doing your market research, figuring out what people want, and then not making it about you. So I really have a mission to help people. I want to transform lives. There's nothing that brings me more joy than seeing someone who's been like scared and stuck in limitations and lack. And then they own their greatness, they let their light shine, and they just become a force for good into the world, into their families, into the communities. Like, it's just like, there's nothing that brings me more joy than that. So that's like definitely my mission and my passion. So what is that for you? Like, what are you passionate about? What's your mission? And stick to it. Like, stick a Post-it note, like, everywhere, like in your bathroom, in your room. Like, read that mission, hold your goal card with you all the time, and read it constantly, because that repetition is going to get you in a whole new vibration. So I love talking about becoming a frequency match to your desires. So Einstein says everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. I believe with everything, like that energy. So you might say like, oh, law of attraction. Yeah, I want $1,000,000. But like, how do you actually feel about getting $1,000,000? Do you think it's possible for you? Or do you feel like, yeah, right, like inside? Because the universe, the ether or whatever you want to call it, like speaks in not English, but energy and feeling and like resonance and alignment. So that's the message for today. I want to keep this kind of short so you can just like listen, go on for the next day, because I'm going to be doing this up until our course launch. So we launch the course on the 9th, and then we start the course the week of the 20th. So I'm going to be coming live just to sharing little confidence tips, because that's the biggest thing I found that was making people feel stuck, is they were lacking confidence. And like when I go live, I still feel like, oh, what am I going to say? Am I going to say the right things? Like, oh, my hair's not done. Like, but it's like, this is not about me. This is about my message and my mission and helping other people. So yeah, don't focus on you. Focus on your message and mission. Don't care what people think. Like, their opinion does not pay the bills. You have to sleep with you every night. So just stick to that. Know that you are worthy of all your desires. Anything you want is possible. Believe it. You're not going to go farther than you believe. So ingrain that into your mind, imprint it, start getting really good at visualization. What do you want? Get clear, vibrate with it. And I'll be with you tomorrow for another confidence tip. All right, take care. Bye. Bye, Facebook.